Opening day is tomorrow. Baseball is finally back. I'm going to be giving you guys all my 2026 award predictions. There's a lot of good candidates this year, so let's get right into it. All right, let's get right into it with the American League MVP. Last year was Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh's historic race. Of course, Aaron Judge pulled out on top, won another one of his historic MVP seasons. This year, I do think it will be another great American League race. I actually think this year may not be as good as last year, because last year was a historic race between maybe two seasons we've kind of really never seen before, with Aaron Judge, batting over 300, with the OPS he had, the homers to bring with it, with the injury that he had for like over a month, just greatness, right? And again, we'll talk a lot more on Judge. And Cal Raleigh, a switch-hitting catcher who hit 60 home runs in a season, who led this Mariners team to one of their best seasons in their franchise's history. It's hard to say that it wasn't a great MVP race. In comparison to the National League last year, it was just a lot better of a race. This year, I do think there's some interesting candidates. For me, I don't know, you can't really say it just comes down to two people, because if you told me if I made this video last year, I would not have had Cal Raleigh. You don't expect it. Sometimes some of these talented hitters can take a ginormous leap. And for me, I don't think Cal Raleigh's going to be able to repeat what he did last year. I just don't think it's sustainable. I don't think that it's going to be possible. I don't know how to explain that in a different wording than that. I don't think what he did last year is who he is as a player. He's been around long enough to see that he's probably going to hit 30, 40 homers, but when you almost talk about 60, that's 20 less. It's just not going to be as great of a season. I think he's still going to be a top one, top two hitting catcher, with Wilson Contreras as well being some of the best hitting catchers in the sport. Again, you guys have Jose Ramirez, who finishes top 3, top 5 in MVP voting every year. I think with this Guardians team being a little bit worse, I don't see his stats and even him being a leap better this year. He's a solo guy trying to carry this Guardians team to whatever he can. I don't know what Cleveland is doing with their ball club, but holy cow, Jose Ramirez has to get out of there. He's starting to get some of the respect we talk about. A lot of people say, he's the most underrated player in baseball. I think he's been, when you talk about him being underrated for 5 years in a row and people constantly bring up that he's underrated, he starts to become less underrated in my opinion. But he's an all-time player. He's super, super consistently good. Is he MVP level? No, but he's, of course, an elite player who realistically, if you told me he was going to win MVP, I wouldn't be surprised. For me, it's between three guys. One of them, in my opinion, a little bolder than the other two. But I'm going to go with my bold choice here. I'm not picking him to be my MVP. I'm going to pick him to go third. If he can stay healthy, I think Yordan Alvarez is truly a guy we could see win MVP. Of course, he's not going to be in the field. He's going to be DHing. I hope the Astros do not play him in the field much this year. Keep him healthy. He is so talented for a Houston team that's in this weird phase of is Houston going to be good this year? Are we going to be looking at Houston saying, man, is this Houston team really, really dead in the water? Or are we going to be looking at this Houston team and be like, man, here they are again, Yordan leading the chase. Such a talented hitter who has just been so unlucky with his injuries. I think this is a year that he could really turn it up, turn it on, and lead this Houston team. They need a leader. They need a guy in that locker room. Altuve's only getting older. Who else do they have around him to really help him out apart from Yordan? He has to stay healthy, and I think he can. I think he can hit a historic amount of homers. He can put up some career highs in RBIs and do some of those sort of things that we wanted to see out of Yordan for the first time in his career. A healthy season where he plays upwards of 135 games and gets plenty of at-bats in that. Coming up in second place, I'm going to go with Bobby Witt Jr. I think soon enough we will be starting to see some Bobby Witt MVPs here in the American League. I just think right now there's a guy in front of him who's just historically amazing. I think Bobby Witt, again, has room to grow into an even better ball player, which is just scary because he's so five-tool. He's so good. We can see all of his stats improve, from stolen bases to home runs to hits to average to everything. He really can improve on. The ceiling is so high on Bobby Witt. I truly think he's the superstar, the face of the league once the Ohtanis and the Judge kind of phase out of it. I think Bobby Witt is just so talented. I think that Royals team is sneaky good in a really mediocre division. I think, again, it's going to be another one of these years where we look at Bobby Witt and say, man, is he really good. I love Bobby Witt this year. I think that he's gonna be the contender. I don't know if the voters are gonna get judge fatigue, right? MVP fatigue. We've seen it in other sports. We've seen it in baseball in itself, where it's like, hey, like, we voted this guy and he's continuing to do the things that he's been doing, but we haven't seen this from Bobby Witt. And it was something that we talked about last year when I did a video between Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge. Like, is voter fatigue going to impact Judge's MVP this year? And it was like, really, it's such a unique case with Raleigh, a catcher hitting 60 bombs for the first time, that record is shattering. And it's like, I don't know what Bobby Witt can do at the shortstop position that's going to shatter enough records to make Judge a chase if Judge stays healthy and does what Judge is expected to do, right? I don't know what he can do to steal this MVP from Judge if Judge plays at Judge level. But yeah, coming on to, of course, who I've talked about so much on this channel. He's truly the potential greatest right-handed hitter of all time. Again, him, Pujols, probably in that debate of like the two guys. But I think Judge has stuff to prove. Right, maybe not in the regular season, and we saw in WBC he didn't have the best eliminatory rounds that he probably wanted. He got robbed by J-Rod in the semis, so like would have had a homer to that. But I think there's a lot with Judge where it's like, all right, this is should be a better Yankees team in terms of like, I don't know if it's better. They're really the exact same team, so you can't really say they're better, but you shouldn't expect any drop in his production. Is a healthy Stanton going to get more runs across the plate? Probably. I think with Judge, we're just talking about one of the best players to ever play the sport, and it's hard to not see him do what he's going to do again this year. Like, he's just so talented. He's so good. And let's be real, the MVP award is not a playoff award. It's not a WBC award, and Judge shines brightest in the regular season right now, and that's what this award is all about. Judge shining in the regular season. I'd love for him to shatter his home run record. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would love to see it. I'd love to see him get back to playing Gold Glove right field, but I also don't expect it. There's a lot that Judge can do. He talked about stealing more bags. He kind of talked about like what the Mets are doing, and Soto stealing like 20 bags last year, and maybe we see Judge add stolen bases to his bags. Kind of how the stolen base game has changed over the new bags and the pitch clock and all those different things, kind of impacting it. It's going to be an interesting year. I do think that Aaron Judge will be the American League MVP, but again, anything can really happen. All right, on to the National League MVP. Again, a very similar case, in my opinion, to the American League side. Like, is it Shohei Ohtani running away with it? Is there any voter fatigue? Is there any competition? Because, again, last year there really wasn't. It was Schwarber. And let's be real, Ohtani is just a level above Schwarber, and he was last year. When you look at the candidates this year, I think some of the wild cards are Tatis, Acuna, of course, Ronald Acuna and what he can do. It's so special, but it's staying healthy. And for Tatis, it's getting to that next level. With players like Schwarber and Soto, again, you can't really put in like crazy stolen base numbers or impact in the field to the levels of the other two I'm going to be talking about. But clearly with the MVP, that doesn't matter, right? Ohtani DH'd for so much of last year and didn't pitch enough to really, like, I think Ohtani wins MVP even if he doesn't pitch an inning last year, right? That's not a question. He was the best hitter on the planet, the most valuable player to his team, regardless of him pitching or not. And this year, I don't expect him to pitch crazy. I expect him to be kind of an opener. I expect the Dodgers to hit a 6-man rotation a lot of the year as well. They have so much pitching. They're going to get injuries to Glasnow, to Snell, and they're going to be very careful with Yamamoto and Ohtani this year. Like, I don't love Yamamoto for Cy Young. I don't love Ohtani for Cy Young, any of those predictions. I just think, why, if you're the Dodgers, you're pretty much locked into a playoff spot right now. Why would you stress out any of these guys and make it more of an argument than it has to be? So I think with Schwarber, with Tatis, and Acuna, I think all those guys can do it. They just need historic seasons. You need to see Schwarber hit historic home run numbers into the 60s, in my opinion, and lead the Phillies team to greatness, to a seed in a tough division in the NL East. Yeah, I think they're in the East. But like, it's tough, right? And I think for me, it is between Soto and Ohtani. I think Soto this year This Mets team just looks better. I think they're going to be better motivated. I think they're going to be a better ball club in general. I don't love the Mets. I'm not saying, man, the Mets are going to contend with the Dodgers. I don't think so. But I think Soto's got to take another step. He's got to take another level. He's got to be the superstar, right? You leave the Yankees, which a decision as a Yankees fan I don't agree with, to go and be the superstar for this Mets, and you miss the playoffs in your first year with a team that should have made the playoffs, right? You're choking to the Marlins and giving up. I don't know. But I think Soto can do it if he can add that stolen base bag to him. I think he's going to get more RBIs. He can hit more bombs. But I think it just comes down to Ohtani being great. Like it's so hard because we're in an era where for a little bit there in the American League, we had Ohtani and Judge battling for MVPs, and now we're kind of getting them, in my opinion, in their respected eras, deserving the MVPs that they should get, right? Like Ohtani deserves 3, 4, 5, 6 MVPs in his career because he is the best player in baseball, and same as Judge. And we're kind of seeing them be like, hey, is anyone going to catch him this year? Is anyone going to do historic seasons? I talked about like Kyle Raleigh had an historic season and he still couldn't catch Judge. And when I'm talking about this MVP argument on the National League side, like it's the same thing. Is anyone going to put up a historic season to catch Ohtani? Of course, things can happen to Ohtani if we're talking about injuries, if we're talking about just having a downer year, but like we're talking about one of the greatest players to ever play the game, if not, in my opinion, just the most talented player to ever play the game, in Ohtani. Like it's not a question. What he can do is it's crazy. And again, we're not talking about this Dodgers lineup getting any worse. They are only getting better. So truthfully, Ohtani for NL MVP. I know it's boring so far. Hopefully I can have some more bolder predictions as we get into this. All right, into some more competitive awards, in my opinion. We're going to go with the American League Cy Young. Between 5 guys, in my opinion, I'm just going to kind of put out my candidates for them. Bryan Woo, Tariq Skubal, Hunter Brown, Max Fried, and Garrett Crochet. I think all these guys are just really good pitchers. I think the American League Cy Young race is so fun. I think both Cy Young races are pretty fun. I think the American League's a little more fun, though, just because I think Skeens is insane. We'll get into that in a second. On the American League side, though, for me, it's Tariq Skubal in a contract year. Can he live up to it? Can he not? Let's first get into some of the guys I'm not going to say are going to win it or in the top echelon of pitchers. Bryan Woo and Hunter Brown. I think these guys are super talented. I'm a little worried about Bryan Woo's kind of like injury stuff he went through last year and all that. I don't think he's going to be impacted by it too much. I love Bryan Woo. He might be my favorite non-Yankee player. He's just fun to watch. Like he's truly gross on the mound, and I think again there's still another level that he's going to find in his career. I don't think it's this year, but I think it's coming up soon that we're going to see a just straight dominant Bryan Woo season. He's got crazy stuff. He's pitching in Seattle. If he can kind of figure out those road splits a little bit better, because his home to road splits are a little shaky right now, but like you're talking about if he can pitch a little better on the road, we're talking about a Cy Young in his near future. Hunter Brown, a young pitcher just as much as Bryan Woo is. Just so much potential with him as well. He's the ace of this Houston team, especially as Framber Valdez leaves. I think that Hunter Brown, again, very similar. I think him and Woo in the future, I'm going to be making this sort of video, and these two are going to be battling for Cy Youngs. I think these two are so talented. Do I think this is Hunter Brown's year to be like the Cy Young front runner? No, but I think he's going to be in competition this year, and he's definitely going to get some Cy Young votes. I'll put in third is Max Fried. Fried is tough because he's never going to have like crazy strikeout metrics or any stuff like that. He's a ground ball pitcher. He's going to be playing in a good Yankees team in a kind of negative pitcher ballpark, right? Like Yankee Stadium isn't the best, but truthfully, he's playing behind a little bit better of a defense this year, especially with like Ryan McMahon at third and hopefully Caballero playing a little bit better than Volpe at short. Who really knows what's going on in that situation, but hopefully some better defense out there this year behind him. He was gross last year. I expect him to be gross this year. I expect him to maybe even be better. He went through a slump in August, I want to say, where he was getting lit up. I expect him to be dominant again this year, and it is between the two most talented pitchers in baseball. Okay, Skeens might be 1 or 2. He's got to be 1 or 2, but Tariq Skubal and Garrett Crochet, again, two pitchers who are truthfully just so dominant, so good. Skubal on a contract year, like I said, do I think he can continue his success? I do. I see no reason why not. But I think Skubal will not win the Cy Young this year. Give me Garrett Crochet to win the American League Cy Young. I think this Boston team is going to be better. He's going to get more wins. He's going to be a better pitcher. That was his first year as a Red Sox last year, and I think he's only going to get better. He is so good, and I think that, like, when you think about him as a pitcher, like, there's a level to be still had, and I think that, like, Skubal is gross in a contract year. You could be like, why would Skubal not win it? I think that there might be a little bit more pressure on him to pitch to that level that he wants to bring those Cy Youngs to the arbitration meeting, like like he was going to do. But I think Garrett Crochet, I think this is the Garrett Crochet year in Boston. Give me him to win the Cy Young this year. All right, on the NL Cy Young side, couple different very interesting options. I think it's a three-legged race. I threw Logan Webb and Chris Sale in there as well. When Chris Sale is pitching and healthy, he is so good, and that's why I want to give him his flowers. I think that Chris Sale is, again, what cap will Chris Sale go into the Hall of Fame with? He's just been so good, and again, you talk about age, like, could he fall off this year? Sure, but again, he's just so good. Like, I was tempted to put Jacob deGrom on the American League Cy Young. Like, why can't deGrom or Chris Sale win the Cy Young this year? They could. But I think for me, I just don't think he's going to stay healthy enough. He's only getting older. Like, can we expect him to pitch the most innings in his career or pitch to the side? Like, when he's won Cy Young, he pitches a certain amount of innings. Can we expect him to get to that level? Like, I just can't as he gets older. I think this Braves team's going to be more improved. I do think that, like, he should get more run support and those sorts of things, and maybe that's going to help him pitch better. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be Chris Sale's year. I have Logan Webb on here. I like Webb. I don't think he's in the same tier as the other four pitchers on this. I threw him on there just because I didn't really know who else was the fifth candidate. There's some other guys. I think Logan Webb is gross. He didn't have the best year last year. I know he probably wanted a better year in general. But he's a talented pitcher, and I think he's one of those guys that you could be like, if Christopher Sanchez is going to show up and just rock the Phillies world last year, why can't Logan Webb just show up and have his career year? Like, why can't he, right? He's a talented pitcher. He's got gross stuff. I think just trying to figure it out and getting to that level for him. Will it be a Cy Young? Maybe not, but I do think he's in this tier of pitchers where it's like, yeah, he is gross. But let's get into the three guys. For me, I'll put in third place being Yamamoto. Yamamoto, truthfully, there is not a guy I would want in a playoff series more than him. Watching what he did last year was great. It was greatness. Like, I had goosebumps anytime he was on the mound when they were in that, like, 16-inning game and he pitched a complete game the night before and he's going into the bullpen and warming up. Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps just thinking about Yamamoto in that playoff run. Like, he truthfully carried he carried a Dodgers super team to a World Series championship. He was so good. So why are you not giving him the Cy Young, Jeter? Because I truthfully feel that they are just going to limit how much he's going to pitch. I think it's a six-man rotation. I think they're just... Why? Why do regular season awards matter to the Dodgers, especially on the pitching side, that they saw last year how important it is to keep that pitching healthy and to use it smartly in the playoffs and to just ramp them up as it goes into the season? I think they're just going to hold Yamamoto a little bit too much. Like, yeah, he's going to get his numbers and he's still going to have an amazing season, but is he going to be able to keep up with the other two in front of him? I just don't think so. Yamamoto is so good, and again, I think... world on the line, I think I'm picking Yamamoto to pitch for me. Like, he's that good. He's truthfully maybe an argument to be the best pitcher in the world. I just don't think he's going to win the best pitcher on the National League side award, if that makes sense. On to Christopher Sanchez and Paul Skeens. Sanchez had a breakout year last year. I had him in fantasy baseball. Okay. So I was able to watch and track his year from start to finish. He had a little bit worse of an end of the year, but again, he was gross throughout the whole season. There's no reason to think he's not going to be able to do it again. He pitches like I watched a lot of his starts and tried to watch as much because it's just so fun to watch a player of like his caliber pitch. And I think that like he's such a funky pitcher. Like, I think he reminds me a lot of Crochet too, where it's just like, I bet as a batter you're watching and it's like, how is he throwing like that? And how is he throwing the stuff he is at me. Like, it is just so impressive to watch. And I think for me, there is still probably another level he could get to. Was that maybe his ceiling last year? Maybe. And that's an amazing ceiling. And if he can keep that up for multiple seasons, like that's what you want out of an ace in a rotation and a guy who could potentially win Cy Youngs. Like, I think he got all the second place votes last year. So again, he's so good. But again, he's going to take my second place spot. I think Paul Skeens is just so gross. And there's no reason for me to believe that he's not going to be even better. Right, you see all the stuff like his work rate and how he approaches it and the stuff he says in like spring training. I'm like, holy crap! Like, it sounds like this is a guy who has a 3.5 ERA who could drop it to a 2.8. But he's got this gross stuff, and it talks like he's only going to get better. He's not in the peak of his career, and he's just so good. I hopefully get to one day get to watch Paul Skeens on a really good team. Like, it's hard to turn on a Pirates game and just watch Paul Skeens play, and it's like, oh yeah, Paul Skeens just went 7 innings of no-hit ball, and the Pirates are tied 0-0 going into the ninth. Like, it's hard, and I don't think that he's going anywhere. I don't think he's going to slow down. I only think he could get better. I think, again, when it comes down to the regular season, because we're not going to see Skeens in the postseason for at least, I don't think the Pirates are going to make the postseason this year. I think right now he's the best pitcher in the regular season. Like, he's so good. And in the WBC, he showed up pretty well. He didn't pitch like lights out. But again, it's so hard to look at the WBC as like results, because it is like during spring training and during that spring training time where it's like you're really going to look at those numbers and be like, dude, Skeens isn't hitting his normal velocity and control and stuff. And it's like, dude, he's pitching in goddamn March and February. Like, no shit, he's not going to hit those numbers. But I think Paul Skeens for Cy Young is not a hot take. Sorry about that, but Paul Skeens for Cy Young. All right, this is a long video. I'm going to try and speed this up for the rookies. Rookies are so hard to predict. Truthfully, I have no idea. There's talented rookies up and down the board on both sides this year. Is it going to be Murakami, Okamoto, Bastallo, or whatever, how do you pronounce his name? I'm going to go with... I'm going Murakami. I don't know. I know, like, I shouldn't be going Murakami because, like, really there's better candidates. But I'm going Murakami, taking the highly talented coming out, and really he didn't have the free agency he probably wanted, but I like the deal he did with the White Sox. I think this White Sox lineup is kind of sneaky good with some upside that they could kind of be a sneaky team in that division. But truthfully, at the end of the day, there's some good rookies. I don't really know the rookie class and like what to expect out of it. Like, I thought Dylan Cruz was going to be a superstar, so I really am not the best when it comes to predicting rookies. But give me Murakami. On the NL side, for me, it's hard because, like, what the Pirates are doing with their players, like, it's like they're doing the service time manipulation and like how they're going to do it. Like, Connor Griffin should be in the major leagues as the season starts. He's not on their opening day roster. We got Bubba Chandler. Nolan McLean, what he did for USA was really, really impressive. JJ Weatherholt, I'm really excited to watch play. I think on the National League side, the rookie class is a little bit better. Oh, it's so hard to look at Nolan McLean and not think like he's going to run away with this Rookie of the Year. But give me JJ Weatherholt. I like him. He's just one of those guys I just really want to cheer for. I think he's going to be so good. I think he's the start of a new era in St. Louis for a franchise in baseball that has always been good, it's in a historic franchise. It's starting a new era. It's out of the Arenado, the Goldschmidt era, Brendan Donovan, all those type of Ryan Helsley, out of that era of Cardinals baseball into the new era of Cardinals baseball. Starting with that young man, give me JJ Weatherholt as the NL Rookie of the Year. All right, last but not least, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a freebie, my World Series predictions on the National League side. Boring or just the reality? I'm going to go with the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers will beat the... I'm going to go with the Braves. Is that crazy? I'm going to go with the Braves to win the National League, to make it to the World Series, and they're going to play in the American League. Ooh, man, there's a lot of good American League teams this year. I'm going to go... Do I be biased and go Yankees, Dodgers, World Series again? Toronto made some good moves. I think Boston is good. I think Seattle's gross. I'm going to go Seattle, Dodgers, World Series. and Dodgers win again. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.